Turn on. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the reconvened budget hearings for Pittsburgh City Council. I'm Councilman Kraus. I'll be chairing today's budget hearing. We are going to begin with the budget hearing for Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. We have invited our guests to the table. We have the director, and Carlin is our government relations. Forgive me. And so with that, Peter, will you then, I turn to you to read the purpose of the, it's not the bill.
No, yeah, the mission.
It's not the bill.
The mission.
Mission.
I'll give a brief overview of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh.
Perfect. Thank you.
The mission of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh is to engage our community in literacy and learning. The vision is that through Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, the people of our region will develop the literacies and connections that support individual achievement and strengthen the power of community, and learn more about our 2018 through 2022 strategic plan. That might be an old bit that we should probably edit out. The public trustees are Councilman Kraus, Councilwoman Gross, Councilperson Strasburger, and the Council President Cale Smith. The operating budget. The City of Pittsburgh collects a library tax for the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. On November 8th, 2011, voters of the City of Pittsburgh approved a .25 mil special tax, or $25 per $100,000 of assessed property, on all taxable real estate in the city to be allocated and used only for the operation and maintenance of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. The first year this tax was assessed was 2012, and the city will receive $21,303 in 2024 for the administration of the library tax. The city also gives $40,000 annually to the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh based on the original 1895 trust agreement between the City of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. That's all I have.
Good, thank you. I might just add that the referendum that you referenced back, did you say 16 was the first year we collected? 2012, was it really? God, the years are flying. Was approved by a 70% margin, which was pretty staggering. The public spoke loud and clear the importance of their libraries, what they mean to them in their lives, and how and why they wanted to support the mission of the Carnegie Library. That was a good time. It really was. Yeah. So Andrew, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah.
Quick and
Yeah, you can leave it on. It's just
Okay.
they'll be fine. First of all, I just want to welcome you to be here. As I was sort of toying with you in the audience, your first time here and my last time here, but it's sort of a nice intersection of the old and the new, and it's always good to welcome new, fresh talent. Especially as it relates to Carnegie Library. We're very proud to have you on board as our new executive director for one full year now.
Yeah, a year and a half.
Year and a half. Yeah, the years are flying. But it's nice to have you here. Now, I know you have a brief presentation for us, and so I'd like to open up the floor for you to be able to make your comments.
I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for
you.
your service to your district and to the city and to the board of trustees of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. We appreciate it. I'm glad our paths have crossed and we've had the chance to work together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. I'm also very happy and proud to report that things are going very well at Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. Our neighbors are visiting all of our locations, including our latest in this building, the Allegheny County Law Library. Books and other materials are being checked out, both physically and electronically. Wi-Fi and computers are being utilized. Meeting rooms are being booked, which is a library pun, if you'll excuse that. And Pittsburghers are engaging in programs. For example, events for kids and teens have been increased this year at all of our locations in every part of the city. And we have heard loud and clear and repeatedly that our neighbors are happy with these increased offerings. 2023 has been a year of strategic planning at the library as we prepare together for the next 5 years at CLP. I want to thank everyone, including many members of this body who have participated in this process. This process included one-on-one interviews with elected leaders, funders, and key stakeholders, roundtable discussions with community organizations, partners, and donors, open forum community sessions with the public at multiple branches across the city, and an extensive community-wide survey which received more than 3,000 responses from the community, a very impressive and helpful response. Our amazing Board of Trustees, again including many City Council members, will consider the proposed plan as scheduled at this coming Monday's final board meeting of the year. And after that time, I'll be very excited to share with everyone what the final plan that we've all worked so hard on looks like, and how together with city support, we will foster literacy, enable exploration, and create connections with all of our neighbors for years and years to come. One thing we'll be building on in 2024 is the phenomenal and really exciting success of our 2023 summer reading program. The vital importance of young people reading and staying engaged with learning over the summer and its impact on educational achievement is well documented, and be happy to talk your ear off on that at some time which you like, but yet allow me to say now that this year saw a 45% increase in the number of young people participating in summer reading at their public library. And they read 71% more books this summer than they did last summer. I'm really proud of our incredible staff for making that happen and for rising to the challenge that was set to our staff of raising these engagement figures through a combination of books, fun, and partnerships, not necessarily in that order. Speaking of partnerships, for the first time, we collaborated with program partners for the summer with the intent of supporting each other's organizations, increasing our collective reach, as well as bringing our partners' expertise to our theme of Find Your Voice. My thanks to the amazing folks at the CLO and the August Wilson African American Cultural Center for being part of this work with us. And I can tell you that we have some pretty amazing plans already in place for the summer of 2024, when our summer reading program will have the theme of sports and the Olympics. Thanks to your support, 2024 will be filled with other great things at our library, and I'm especially proud to say there will be more and more access to these great things, as in March, CLP will roll out the largest increase in service hours in the history of our organization and in every part of our city. This double-digit percentage increase will include more and more later evening hours so that our neighbors with busy lives and many, many responsibilities have more access to the many, many services we provide that improve lives. And so using the library wherever and however works best for them and their families can be part of their regular routine. In closing, may I express again the great appreciation of CLP's board and staff to City Council members for your engagement with the library in your district. We value the partnership and communication of you and your staff and how that enables us to serve our community. So thank you, happy holidays, and I'll see you at the library.
See you at the library. Thank you, Director. Carlin, you always join us. You don't always make comment, but I certainly want to provide you the opportunity to make comment if you wish to do so.
I don't really have anything to add to Andrew's remarks, but I do want to say that for me personally, the comment about the library really feeling like it's back to normal. It's taken a little bit of time post-pandemic for us to really feel the vibrancy restored at our libraries, and I will say that I'm finally seeing it and feeling it with all the people that are utilizing the services and programs in all of our locations, which is absolutely wonderful and heartwarming to see.
Yeah, is it a combination of us being there, so that people can access us, and the desire of people to actually come out and be part of something bigger than themselves again, like it's a good marriage right now, right?
Absolutely, yeah. The service of space that we provide is key, and the place where neighbors can come together and do so for free without the expectation of spending
We're social
any
beings.
money is so important.
Right.
Yes.
We learned that loud and clear. I don't know if you know this, Director, or not, but when I was first appointed to the Carnegie Library Board 16 years ago, my very first meeting was the vote that was being taken to close the 6 branches. And where we've come from that moment in time to this moment in time it's astounding. But what I learned in that process, and I believe what we learned collectively in that process, is the importance of space, right? It is a digital world, and I do understand the the importance of digital content in our lives, but nothing takes the place of space for us to be able to collect together, right, and to share, whether it is thoughts or ideas or conversation or opinion or whatever the case may be. And we did learn how important brick and mortar was, regardless of how digital the world may be becoming. We needed to be able to be there to provide space. It was incredibly important.
Absolutely. Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh can be very proud of the investment in our facilities and over the last about 16 years, and that has been just absolutely vital, as you said. And we are, I believe, in an and world, a hybrid world, and just as this session is convening, both in person and providing access virtually, it will be important for us to be sure that that is key to our library's future.
Our facilities are state-of-the-art,
That's
no
right.
question about it, and equitably distributed for everyone that has a desire to share in what we have to offer. It has a space and a place to come and offer it or enjoy and share in it, and that the distribution of those investments have been equitable across the board.
Sir.
I'm very proud of the work that we've done over the years. Very. Hey, Councilman, I should have given it to you first, and I apologize. I got sort of off track there a little bit, but I certainly would like to offer it up for you to make comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Carlin, for being here today. And as one of the 4 public trustees, I don't have any questions per se, but I am really looking forward to seeing the strategic plan come to fruition. And the thing I'm most excited about is introducing new audiences to the library, to the libraries, because, as we continue to have an even stronger partnership with the Allegheny County Library System, that's all kind of included in our network in some ways, and maybe even more so in the future. But as we also just find new audiences, particularly children, to bring into the libraries where it can be a transformational experience and life-changing for them, I know that we're always seeking those opportunities, and just looking forward to the next fiscal year. I know that the city, relatively speaking, doesn't contribute as much as other levels of government, but I'm glad we're able to contribute some and support in other ways. And I also just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Councilman Kraus for his many years of service on the Carnegie Libraries of Pittsburgh board as a public trustee. I didn't realize you've been on this board as well for 16 years.
Yeah.
So thank you for your service. That's
Thank you.
a good long time.
I had breakfast with Carlin last week, and I told her it really is the thing I'm most proud of in the work that I've been given opportunity to do while I've been here. It has really been my honor to be there. I have received so much more from Carnegie Library than I was ever able to contribute. It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
impacted so many people, and we're here to help each other.
Yeah. I labored under the illusion, like I suspect most people do, that library doors just open and, services and materials just magically appear, and that nothing could be further from the case. That what it takes to reach the level of performance like the Carnegie Library System and everything that goes into that. I don't think most people realize or understand, and it happens because of the dedication of so many different resources and people and agencies to make it happen. But it does. It's a very collective and cooperative experience, and as Andrew said, free to the people. The only limitation you have is that you choose not to use what we provide for you. Yeah. So thank you. I'll go on for hours if you don't stop me. So anyway, Director, do you have anything else you wish to offer at this time?
Again, just my thanks for your continuing support and looking forward to the future.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilwoman. Good. Thank you, Carlin. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Appreciate it so much. I'll see you Monday.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Excuse me. So then we're going to go into the Oakland Improvement Business District and our Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership. If you'd like to join us at the table, we're happy to have you. And while they join us, Peter, you are going to read an overview for both of the business improvement districts, correct?
Sure.
And don't sit all the way down there. Okay?
I'll start with the Oakland Business Improvement District. The vision of the Oakland Business Improvement District is to set the standard for growth and innovation. The mission is to ensure Oakland's place as Pennsylvania's global center. Their values are to refrain from the experience of commercial, retail, office, and residential environments, while dismantling oppression, embracing diversity, promoting diverse business, and creating spaces for social, racial, and economic justice. A quick overview: the Oakland Business District and Business Improvement District is the region's second largest place management organization in Pittsburgh, representing a diverse group of decision makers, including property and business owners, universities, hospitals, city government, community, and cultural nonprofits. OBID maintains a vibrant, competitive, and attractive district and providing amenities critical to accelerating Pittsburgh's standing as a global innovation hub. The OBID's activities and expenditures are governed by a diverse board of directors comprised of owners of both large and small properties, business owners, and the educational and medical institutions, City of Pittsburgh government, and Oakland-based community, civic, and cultural organizations. The board of directors are elected by the OBID membership at large at the board of directors annual meeting. The OBID board is served by various committees, including, but not limited to, executive, finance, governance, personnel, resource development, marketing, and innovation Oakland. And Councilman Kraus serves on OBID's board of directors. And then very quickly, the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership is a dynamic nonprofit organization comprised of businesses and community leaders, property owners, and civic organizations, foundations, and residents who provide energy, vision, and advocacy for downtown Pittsburgh. Working collaboratively with the partners, the PDP strives to create positive downtown experience for residents, workers, and visitors alike. The PDP's strategic initiatives include clean and outreach services, mobility, economic development, and advocacy. And Councilman Lavelle serves on PDP's board of directors.
Thank you very much. We've done this once or twice in the past, haven't we? It's good to have you here. I have a couple things after you have opportunity to make your presentations and statements, to ask some questions. Of course, we'll invite the councilwoman in as well too. But Georgia, would it be okay if I started with you and then we'll get on to Jeremy?
Absolutely, sure. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Councilperson Strasburger and Councilman Kraus, and thank you. And we followed an excellent presentation from our partners from the library, and we just wanted to put an extra shout out. Obviously, they're throughout the city, and their main branch is in Oakland, so congratulations to them, and of course, congratulations to what they do for our community. So I'm Georgia Petropoulos. I'm the CEO of the Oakland Business Improvement District, and I'm here with my colleague, Christine Grady, who's our Director of Finance and Operations. And we're going to go through just a brief PowerPoint we did for you all, and then we'll open up to questions. So we're excited to be there. It has, as you've already heard from our partners from the library, it has been an amazing year, continues to be an amazing year. And we just got a wonderful brief summary of who the OBID is. So really a lot on this page you've already heard. And then, we're very lucky. We've actually, in the last couple years, had a chance to increase our staff. We have a fantastic staff and team who helps us out. So we're a staff of 5, but we work with many partners. We work with the staff of many partners, many organizations, including both your offices, Jeremy's organization and his team and staff. So I'd like to think that we actually have a very collective group that assists us. And I shout out to our many partners from Pitt to UPMC to our council government offices. So we want to thank everyone there. We do have a fantastically well-represented group, very active group, board of directors, a little over 30 people. In this image here that you're seeing, we actually, the board in the last 15 months, traveled to sort of other cities that also have a thriving business improvement district area, but also innovation district. University Hospital Research Center. And here's an image of, we had a little over 30 people that attended. We visited Midtown Atlanta, which was a fantastic experience that we can bring ideas back to us, but also some good reinforcement that we're doing pretty darn good here in Pittsburgh too. So excited for that one. And then, so I'll just go into some of our programs, some of our key programs we wanted to highlight. Of course, since day one of our biggest and most important programs is to make sure that we keep the public realm and the streets of Oakland looking clean and safe, attractive, so that it continues to attract people and it provides for the amenities of the district. We have a wonderful team led by Will Thomas of Block by Block. You can see here of the amount of trash, and I believe I'm looking at, let's see, there's 1,400 feet of street and alley, and then over 18 tons of trash. And that does, of course, continue to include things that we probably take for granted, pizza boxes, cigarettes. It's amazing what they find and what they pick up, but we don't see it, and that's the point. That's that we have a great team that sort of keeps that moving. And then I'm now going to move this. Just wanted to go over a brief, the budget. So we understand here we want to make sure we present our programming, but also to see the support that we receive from our property owners and our businesses and institutional partners. And I'm going to sort of move that to Christine Grady to give you all a little update on that.
Hi, thank you. So just to give a very brief overview of our 2024 budget, the revenue and expenses. The bid assessments for 2024 we're anticipating just over $725,000 in revenue from assessments. And that was based on October assessments. If there were any changes before January 1st, that will be amended. We still get a very significant amount of revenue from our partners in Oakland. That includes Pitt, UPMC, and Carlo predominantly. And then we do have some income from grants and partners and shared services. So one area where we share some of our resources with the Pittsburgh Innovation District. That includes me and a couple of other employees who work for both organizations. So that represents some income for us. And we also do a fair amount of fundraising, for example, for Glowland. This year we raised just over $100,000. We anticipate doing the same next year. And then in-kind revenue of around $82,000. In terms of our expenses, personnel and operating expenses are remaining pretty much static, with some dollars also towards board and organizational development. Then one of the largest contracts really is the block by block contract, the Clean and Safe program with them. And that's around $336,000. The public realm and design includes programs such as outdoor dining, the flowering baskets, and adding to the outdoor dining platforms. Also includes Glowland. And then we do have some money set aside for different events and activations during the year. And the work we're doing on retail development to continue to diversify the face of retail opportunities in Oakland. So that leaves our budget for 2024 at about $1.5 million.
Thank you, Christine. Georgia?
Thank you. So we'll just go through, just got a handful more of slides. And thank you. That was great. So again, you heard we're sort of how we've divvied up and broken up our expenses to cover the various different approaches to how you keep a commercial district vibrant and strong. So, of course, the outdoor dining program, which is a program that really started and came out of the pandemic, but due to the success, not just with customers and the general public, but even with our business community, who allow us, along with the city of Pittsburgh and our partners, to take over parking lanes. So again, we have over 400 lineal feet that we've taken over on 4 different street face blocks throughout the central Oakland district. We've remained, of course, on side streets. So if you haven't experienced it yet, Oakland Avenue, Myron Avenue, and South Bouquet Street. Wonderful throughout the summer season, even throughout the cold weather. People come to coffee shops. People will do what they can to sit outside. So we appreciate that. Where we can, we have live music opportunities. Of course, here's just some examples that we did one called the Oakland Groove Fest, just starting to bring back supporting local artists and local musicians where we can. This is one program opportunity of that. Again, we're in the backyard of the largest university center in Western Pennsylvania. So where we can, we do a shout out and partner with our universities. And here we did an I Love Pitt Day, which was, it's I Love Pitt Day every day really, but this was an opportunity to do a special event that we did in their partnership. Great thing, brought out lots of very excited students and customers. And right now, we just kicked off it's the second year for Glowland. It's a lighting and art festival that's throughout the Oakland area. And this Saturday, by the way, we're going to have programming for Family Fun Day taking place at the Shenley Plaza. And then the following Saturday on December 16th, for example, we're going to have actually the first drone show in Oakland this is all free and open to the public. As Christine noted, we've raised 100% of this event is covered with funds that we've raised from sponsors and partners. We're very excited about it. We had a glow ball last Friday that was very popular, and we're already planning next year because people have already asked and to save their calendar. Here we do we have a great team that's helping us with our marketing and communications. So of course we do every chance to use social media, newsletter audience, any way we can to get the word out, not just about what OBID's doing, but we also want to make sure that we're promoting our partners, our businesses, any opportunities we can. We want to make sure we're the face and voice for the Central Oakland District. Again, just some additional where we can, we come up with some unique, clever promos. It's all another approach and way on how we bring customers into our businesses. This PowerPoint presentation was put together by our communications team, and we wanted to make sure that we highlight, Molly and Chris put this together for us, highlighting what we do, not just quarterly, but monthly. It's a lot of information. This really is the way many people learn and hear about what's happening. It's literally through their phones, so we make sure that we get the word out on all possible platforms. And then last but not least, and I know that Jeremy and his team, the PDP, also use this same software program called Placer AI. It's a popular program that's used actually throughout the country. Many downtown and urban centers use this platform that actually follows and monitors pedestrian activity count. Again, this is through your phone. We get wonderful information and stats on what's happening in our district. As you can see here, by the numbers, we can tell you about all the programs and all the projects that we do. But what we really love, and the most important slide is here because this is showing the impact of what we and our partners put together. So the good news is, of course, since the pandemic, we continue to see increase in foot traffic. And just here you can see in our visitorship and our key findings, we're on the plus side of increasing visitorship even since last year in terms of people coming back to Oakland, people coming back to our community in our area. And we're very proud of this, and these are things we want to continue to promote and put out to everyone. Again, we want to thank everyone for what a wonderful year we've had, and of course we're already planning and looking forward into next year, and words cannot even begin to say I appreciate everything everyone does for OBID and for Oakland, and thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you, Georgia. Jeremy, welcome.
Maybe. There we
It's
go.
just easier to leave them on.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. First, I'd like to just say thanks to our partners at the Carnegie Library. Their investment in downtown Pittsburgh and their commitment to that branch has been significant just to help anchor the Smithfield Street corridor. I'd also like to offer my thanks to Georgia and her team. She mentioned the partnership that we have as these place management organizations and advocacy efforts in collaboration amongst our staffs, and we certainly appreciate that work. Again, I'm Jeremy Waldrop, the President and CEO of the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, and on behalf of our board and stakeholders, I'm very pleased to talk to you about the work of our organization. We've been hard at work to support downtown's recovery while also thinking through the future of downtown and how we must ensure that it remains the civic, economic, and cultural hub of the region. 2023 saw significant visitor recovery and a steady increase in return to work. Our visitor numbers remain about 80% of our pre-pandemic levels. Average daily activity remains steady with an average of about 93,000 people coming into the Golden Triangle. Again, this is using that Placer AI data that Georgia mentioned earlier. That's about a 70% recovery from our 2019 numbers. To ensure that this progress is maintained and continues to grow, we're leading efforts to increase public safety and human services, enhance our public spaces and streetscapes, and support current and welcome new businesses, all which are critical to a strong downtown. Over the last year, we have doubled our investments in clean outreach and hospitality efforts, supplementing the work of the city and county while also launching several new pilot projects in this vein. One of the most impactful has been the Pittsburgh Potty Public Restroom Initiative, providing public restrooms in 2 locations, down at Gateway Center and at the Smithfield and Strawberry Way intersection. This pilot project is funded through the end of February of 2024, and we look forward to continuing our conversations with the mayor's office and city council as to how we can keep these essential public amenities open while also opening more permanent facilities in strategic locations throughout downtown. Additionally, this summer, we launched a community care shuttle, providing individuals in need of transportation services with access in the mornings and evenings to services, meals, and shelter. This shuttle is providing almost 2,500 rides to places like Light of Life, Jubilee Kitchen, and Second Avenue Commons, and is a program we think is a missing link to individuals accessing services. As it provides more than just a ride, it allows our outreach team to deepen relationships that ultimately lead to stronger connections, enabling individuals to establish trust and get the help that they need. Working with social service agencies, our outreach team continued to be an invaluable asset to providing critical supportive services. The team offered connection to mental health services, access to securing housing, providing hygiene kits to help ensure their safety and well-being. With winter weather arriving, the Department of Human Services and the city are increasing the number of available beds in overflow facilities, now totaling 370 year-round beds in 9 shelters, with an ability to expand to over 450 beds if needed this winter. The county is also increasing efforts to streamline the process to move people through our existing shelter system and into transitional and more stable housing. We're encouraged by these ongoing efforts to support those in need in our community, but we also urge the council to continue to expand upon and expedite these services as possible and ensure that every community provides access to shelter and housing opportunities to support our neighbors in need. Our team takes pride in all that we've accomplished this year, but challenges remain. We continue to do work in key places like Mellon Square, Strawberry Way, 3rd Avenue, and Market Square to decrease issues like public intoxication and other antisocial behavior and create spaces where everyone is welcome. There's still a need for continued monitoring, increased enforcement, and outreach intervention, and it will require the comprehensive services of both the city and the county. We're continuing to engage police and outreach staff in these areas in hopes of decreasing issues that are regularly experienced. However, we encourage the city and the county to further prioritize the development of a more comprehensive approach to decrease the impact that this relatively small group of people have on downtown. Public safety continues to be the #1 concern of downtown stakeholders, and ensuring an adequately sized police force is critical to downtown's recovery. We greatly appreciate the investment that PNC Bank is making in providing a new public safety center in downtown and implore members of council to create accountability to increase public safety efforts in all of our communities. Although we still face challenges, there are many exciting things underway in downtown. We received over 90 applications for our Project Pop-Up initiative and are now working to locate 6 new businesses in downtown properties throughout downtown. In collaboration with the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, we began programming Market Square, ensuring this architectural gem is a vibrant space for residents, workers, and visitors. Earlier this morning, my team met with staff from DOMI to discuss the finalization of plans for the redevelopment of Smithfield Street, a transformative streetscape project in the heart of downtown. We must work collaboratively and creatively to fund more of these large-scale streetscape projects, and we look forward to working with the city on these efforts. These large-scale investments, as well as the smaller-scale art and pop-up projects that we've become well known for, will inspire and incentivize more private investment attract new businesses and residents while increasing our tax base and creating a neighborhood that we can all be proud of. Our events and programming teams continue to be an integral part of our strategy to make downtown a more welcoming place, providing much needed events that encourage people back into the city. With the support of the corporate community, we launched an expanded programming in Market Square that brought something for everyone, including our beloved farmers market and night markets, newly introduced happy hours and lunchtime concerts, and as a result, Market Square is almost back to pre-pandemic crowds. This can be attested to the over 1,000 people that joined us for our Krampus celebrations last night in the dreary weathered holiday market. We are excited to welcome the region back to downtown for Picklesburgh in 2023 in an expanded new location along the Boulevard of the Allies. This move proved to be a huge success, nearly doubling the crowd from last year to over 200,000 people and increasing dwell times at that event by over 15%, meaning that people wanted to stick around a bit longer. We're grateful to our partners at the city and county, not only for their work in helping us make great events, but making safe spaces to welcome hundreds of thousands of people that came down for the dozens of large-scale events in downtown throughout the year. We know that challenging times are ahead as firms around the country evaluate their commercial real estate needs and likely decrease the amount of space they lease in downtown. Almost 70% of the downtown real estate is dedicated to commercial office, and while programs like the LRTA and the URA's conversion program are steps in the right direction, we must think more boldly about ways in which we can welcome more users into downtown. Through residential conversions, encouraging institutional users such as our colleges and universities, public and private, secondary schools, and beyond. We must balance the need for affordable housing with the need for transformative redevelopment of downtown that includes more housing for everyone. We appreciate the support of City Council in this work and look forward to continue to partner on these efforts to drive progress and impact. Much of the work underway with our organization is privately funded, but we greatly appreciate the support the city has provided for the Golden Triangle Ambassador Program, which launched earlier this year. This program is making downtown a more welcoming place, ensuring that welcoming faces are on our streets and in our public spaces. We hope that the city will continue to grow their support of our services. As you will see, our 2023 bid budget is just over $2.6 million. The bid allocation is primarily dedicated to clean and outreach efforts, with 63% of the funds invested in these critical services. Programs to market and promote downtown Pittsburgh account for 16% of the budget, 5% to transportation-related initiatives, 7% to economic development efforts, and 9% to administrative. We've convened a committee of downtown bid stakeholders to review the bid assessment and determine the viability of increasing the bid assessment prior to our current term that ends in 2026. We look forward to working with the council and the mayor to support downtown Pittsburgh and appreciate your continued partnership and collaboration. Your leadership and support is needed now more than ever. Thank you.
Couple things. May I have a copy of your remarks?
Sure.
Digital, if you would, please, because you encapsulated this moment in time that we are experiencing in our downtown perfectly, in my opinion. Would you, Jeremy, go the very last thing you split up the numbers of the budget percentages that you are putting towards clean and safe and economic development? What is the percentage of the budget to clean and safe?
About 63% of the bid budget, which is about 30% of our overall budget. For 2024, we'll have a budget of around $10 million.
And 7% economic development.
Correct. Now that number, again, of the bid budget, it will depend. We do have a lot of private support for economic development that probably would jump up to about 15% if you're looking at our total overall budget for economic development.
So I'm trying to get to a place where, well, first of all, let me start by saying that of all the people that I've gotten the pleasure to get to know over the years of serving in the 3rd Council District, Oakland Bid and Downtown Partnership, you and Georgia have truly been treasures in what you have helped us to do through our office with your support and collaboration. Having said that, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about our responsibility to reduce. You house our block by block that we use on Carson Street in the South Side, and it boggles my mind that of about $1.5 million or so, maybe close to $2 million we've collected so far, that the majority of that money has gone to Clean and Safe, to pick up. And if we only could collectively, as a city, as a society, understand our responsibility just to be good stewards, to treat our spaces. I love the terminology space management. I hadn't quite heard it put that way before, but if we just understood our responsibility to be respectful to the spaces that we collectively gather within. Imagine if those numbers were flipped at this moment in time and you had the opportunity to provide, 67% into economic development and only 7% into Clean and Safe. What a transformative time that could be at this critical intersection that we find ourselves in. I don't know how to make that happen. I especially applaud and am proud to serve with Councilwoman Strasburger. I think she and I, at least on this subject, we're separated at birth. We see this subject very much the same way in the responsible stewardship of what we are entrusted with, right? And the responsibility that we have to steward it properly. And the one critical leg of that stool that I think is far too often either dismissed, overlooked, or not considered because we don't realize we should be considering it, is reduction, right? It's reduce, reuse, recycle, right? It is how can we collectively, as a culture, as a society, as a city, as a people, understand our responsibility to use temporary things less, and to reduce that form of consumption so that we can use the dollars that we do have to invest in much more sustainable, future. Just imagine what we could be. That's my soapbox, but I had to say it. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I couldn't agree more with you. And I really would just want to thank you all for the work that you do. I think the one word that comes to mind, aside from this sort of very similar work that you accomplish in your respective downtowns, is pivoting. We've all pivoted. It was like the word of the year. I feel like during the lockdown portion of the pandemic, but Obed and Oakland has pivoted from, not away from, but has pivoted to also be inclusive of, an innovation district, like truly creating an innovation district and leveraging the talents and the workforce and the, brain power that exists in Oakland to create those opportunities for the bump into effect, if you will, and the spaces for that. And so both serving, attracting businesses, attracting people to the businesses, attracting people to our programming, and also then facilitating the development of those spaces. Like, that's amazing, and I want to continue to support that. And I guess if there's anything that you would like to say to that point, like what more can the city do, short-term, mid-term, long-term, to help facilitate that, it being the third largest employment center in the Commonwealth, if Oakland were a city, right? And knowing there's a conscientious effort to make that an innovation district, truly like a world-class one. What more can we do to support that effort and you?
Well, thank you. Yes, it's quite outstanding, actually. I think we're in the top 10 across the country in terms of the economic output that Oakland, Central Oakland in specific, produces, right? So you mentioned third largest economic center in Pennsylvania. So sometimes we, almost feel like we're a city within a city, and it's fantastic. And yes to that. I mean, honestly, a continuation of helping to celebrate, helping to promote, helping to include in all of the narratives that we are the heart of an innovation district here in Pittsburgh. And again, I want to do a shout out to our colleagues at the Pittsburgh Innovation District, Sean Luther, the CEO, and his team, that we share and we do and partner a lot together, because they're a big piece of what helps promote that, attract companies, continue to keep the talent here, and any way that we can continue to see that in terms of everything we talk about when we talk about Pittsburgh. It would be wonderful to continue to see that the innovation district as part of the narrative, part of the story of what makes Pittsburgh so unique and so wonderful for the Commonwealth. And I mean, there's so much already. I'm trying to think in terms of any additional. Oh, well, obviously, I mean, again, Jeremy, kudos. Trying to find ways on how we can attract new uses and new types of uses in our district and in our communities. And I think I would also add in there, as Jeremy noted, Oakland, downtown, actually all of our commercial districts throughout Pittsburgh, we are at a point where we need to rethink the public realm and the public space. So I would suggest continuing to have Domi and their team and the Department of City Planning and their teams, who are brilliant, as we rethink what is a commercial district of the post-pivot, right? The post-pandemic. There's a demand for how we experience our sidewalks, how we experience our cities is very different today than it was 4 years ago. So I would say from the city to continue to partner and do what we can so that we can rethink how we can make the public realm the type of space that it needs to be today. Because what our teams are competing with are other downtown centers that exactly do that. It's not just selling the product and service. We now sell experience that comes with what we do in our downtowns. And if we don't have the experience, we're going to continue to lose out. Whether it's the company that's trying to figure out where to keep their tech office and expand, because they look at the space, of course, they look at the rent, they look at all the things that we traditionally understand a tenant would look at, but they also look at the amenities, they look at the housing, they look at those options. I again, and I will reiterate what Jeremy said, just work with us so that we can dream and rethink what the public space experience and what the public realm experience could be and should be, because this is Pittsburgh. That's what we do. We innovate. So those are two things, Councilwoman, that come to my mind immediately. But Christine, do you want to throw something in there?
Sorry. One thing I would maybe add, and particularly when you talk about innovation in the Oakland area, you've got some of the biggest brain power in the world right there with Carnegie Mellon, UPMC, and Pitt. And I think as much as the city can take a role in acting as a convener, because each of those institutions has master plans and objectives, and I think sometimes having someone help bring those partners around the table for sort of common objectives is perhaps something that could be helpful from the city.
Stated in the most diplomatic fashion.
My father was a diplomat.
I mean, I'll just add that music to my ears, both of what you said, but Georgia, the rethinking of commercial districts. And I hear from some merchants who say, who we're competing with are the malls. And maybe for some merchants that's true. And so then their focus is, how do we get the most parking as close to my store as possible? And I would argue that, if we're looking holistically, we're looking for a total changeover in the experiential 18-hour economy, as I've heard Councilman Kraus talk about, the people who come, and they come for the experience, and maybe they shop, and hopefully they go to the restaurant, and then they stay for the beverage afterwards and whatever. So yes, it's still commerce, but a different kind with entertainment built into it. So I too hope that we can continue to work with you and other, chambers of commerce throughout the city for neighborhoods to be able to adapt the public realm to facilitate that, and the programming and the other stuff that comes with it. This, the space, the placemaking. Was there anything, Jeremy, that you wanted to? I know I focused that question on Oakland, but you're also through, the eventual kind of expansion of the BRT and through other means, like we're connecting downtown and Oakland through transportation, but also sort of philosophically as well. So I didn't know if you wanted to add.
I think just driving home Georgia's point of that kind of convening and leadership, I think the mayor has made a concerted effort to bring quarterly meetings to stakeholders in downtown, and how does the council kind of integrate into that more and become champions of both of our commercial districts. They play a very important role to the tax base of the city. For so long, I mean, I've been here 12 years in this role, and for the longest time, downtown didn't really need that investment. It was humming along, and now we're in a different spot where it really is going to take more collaboration from the public and private sectors than we've ever seen to kind of rethink this work. And it is back to the basics, from public safety, making welcoming spaces. Our parks and infrastructure are super important. We have to create that experience and that place that people want to be a part of. If we know that our workforce is only going to come downtown at best 3 to 4 days a week, that's going to have an impact on every single other component of the downtown economy. And it's not something that we can't get through. We just have to get through it. And then importantly, and not necessarily with city dollars exclusively, but that advocacy role for state investment, for federal investment into rethinking our historic building structures downtown. We have a large number of absolutely beautiful historic office buildings that in the next 5 to 10 years will not be office buildings any longer. And if we want to keep those amenities as contributing factors to our streetscapes, as they have been for the last 130 years, we have to invest resources in those buildings to rethink them, because office users today want brand new floor plates with all the bells and whistles, and we're not going to have these in these spaces. So we have to think collectively about what we can do with those spaces, and that's going to require our collective advocacy.
So I was going to talk about the pivot that you've made, and just evidenced by your budget, like encountering some of the cities across the country's biggest challenges right now, in addition to the work that you have been doing for so many years. And so kudos to you for making that pivot successfully, I think, because we all see, the efforts that PDP has made, and nothing big and bold and good has ever come in Pittsburgh without partnerships. And so along with so many other partners, but just wanted to shout from the rooftops, it's not, all encountering challenges and also doing really good work is not always the job just solely of city and county government. It always takes the partners, and you've been such an amazing partner in that regard. But going back to that point of downtown spaces and built environment, how I personally understand the almost mid to long term, right? The office conversion to housing can be almost a longer term vision. And the Pittsburgh potty is needed, right? Kind of a Band-Aid, but absolutely needed.
Absolutely a Band-Aid. Absolutely a Band-Aid.
And there are more, I know there are more of those, right? The programming in our open spaces and just making, drawing people back downtown. I love the Pittsburgh Downtown Index. I'm really enthusiastic about seeing the fourth quarter. I was just looking at the third quarter yesterday, with Light Up Night and everything. I'm interested to see how those numbers reflect that, and we'll keep on keeping tabs of that. What is I know there's not one silver bullet, but what are some of the answers that you've been mulling around in your mind and talking to people about as an answer to that question of preserving those amazing historic structures that are probably not going to be commercial for 100% for the foreseeable future? What are these creative ideas that actually can come to fruition in the next 5 years, 3 years, rather than 10 years, which is residential office conversion, office to residential conversions?
Yep. All good questions and a lot to unpack there.
I'm sure. I was sure you could talk for an hour.
I could, and I won't.
Are there just some top level, to give us a taste of what is being discussed in those circles?
Sure. Yeah. And I just want to reiterate and make sure that I do it justice. The the level of corporate support that we're seeing in our work is unprecedented. And that's really due in part to the leadership of the Allegheny Conference and our corporate stakeholders stepping up and saying, hey, this is our time to invest in this organization to do this work. So I really appreciate that and want to make sure that's acknowledged. I think that things that, from a city perspective, from a government perspective, you mentioned our parks and public spaces. We have a state-controlled historic park at the Point. Very hard to do things in that space. And it's, sacred, historic, there's many reasons to kind of steer clear. Mellon Square and Market Square are really the only two public spaces that we have in downtown. If we want to, because we would love to double the population in the Golden Triangle from around 7,300 to around 15,000 in the next decade. That will give us more amenities like a Target, a grocery store. You'll continue to see those neighborhood services build out, and you'll start to fill up First Avenue, Boulevard of the Allies will become different places as a result. And that's going to require us to get creative about public space, because these folks are going to require dog parks and little pocket parks and playgrounds. When I moved here 12 years ago, why don't you live downtown? I'm like, sure, I'll live downtown. How many kids live downtown? 4. I'm like, oh, I'm bringing 3. That's weird. Like, I don't want to double the population of downtown kids by bringing my family here. We still haven't grown that population because we're not creating amenities for them. I think that we can keep those young couples here longer if we provide those sorts of amenities, but it's going to require investment. And I think it's imperative that the city and corporate stakeholders come together with some very clear plans and strategies to how do we become a more diversified residential community. Those are it's parks and open spaces. It's making sure that folks can get somewhere safely that they want to go to. It's active recreation. We need pickleball and basketball. Mm-hmm. We need to think about how we encourage students into downtown. We have 2,200 students learning in downtown. When I hear of my kid's school getting closed because it doesn't have adequate air conditioning, I'm like, okay, this is 2023. What are we doing here? Like, let's move those schools downtown if they can't be effectively rehabilitated and provide opportunities for them to learn where all the transit meets. Like, those are the types of conversations that I think we should be having for our city and our region. And then, we have to continue to instill that civic pride. We need more large events. We need to invest in those resources. And I think that the corporate community is there for that. Our cultural institutions, which we haven't discussed much here, play just a critical role and impact. Making sure that they remain vibrant and solvent are super important. Continue to invest in the convention business and the convention center in downtown and what that means for large hotels to continue to, because Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, those markets are investing in those assets now. And if we don't remain competitive, we'll lose that business. And so it's just critical that we double down.
Thank you. That was probably like a sliver of what actually you're all discussing, but it was so helpful to get a peek inside what's happening. And I agree. I think, regardless of what districts we represent, when it comes to downtown, we're all getting questions about the future of downtown. So we should all be at the table in some form or another, or be represented. We have great representatives in the form of Councilman Wilson, Councilman Lavelle. And I think, in addition to that, I would love to figure out a way to integrate council into those conversations as well. It's the future of our region, right, as everyone says.
Sure,
so
sure.
Oakland and downtown. So that's great. There was something that came to mind I was so engrossed in what you were saying, I didn't actually write it down, but, our cultural amenities, just to reiterate, yes, we're a sports town. We're also an amazing cultural town, and the cultural amenities we have in Oakland and in downtown. I know people know about that, but that should also be a huge selling point to every single person who's considering visiting, living, all of that walkability around both of these neighborhoods too. Just amazing talent here. And then lastly, just a fun anecdote. This was my first Picklesburg. I had a friend join me from Portland, Maine, who flew in for Picklesburg for a day and then flew back. So congratulations. You're getting worldwide notoriety. And, that's just one example of the amazing programming. So
Thank you.
thanks.
No, we appreciate that. And, we want to do more of it.
It is killing me not to jump into this conversation. But trust me, I'm going to join, but I'll be mindful and respectful of you, Councilman, and offer up your opportunity to have comment, and then I'll have just a few, or we could talk about this forever because it is so very important to us, and we all understand the importance of downtown as the living room of the city, right? We all have a part of it, and reason to want to see it be well. But Councilman, with that, I'll turn to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome. It's Georgia, and I'm sorry, sorry I was late. I missed that, Christine, and I know Jeremy, of course. First, I want to say I love what you do. I really do. Starting with just what I'm looking at here. This is like a credit card to discounts. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that goes to whom?
To anybody who wants it, we can give them out in the.
We give them out. We don't mail them. Okay,
yeah, we put them in the farmers market. They're in the holiday market now. We have kiosk and office buildings, and it's just encouraging folks to hit our website, find deals from restaurants, retailers around downtown.
It's great.
We've given out
I love it.
12,000 of them.
I like the packaging. I like the color. I like everything about it, and I think everybody likes a discount, especially if they're visiting downtown. So that's really great. This too, I love that. You put this together. It's just a guide. I know most people are online today, but I feel a large people who are kind of being left behind in ways, and I'm one of them. Appreciate something in print like that, and a guide that they can look to without turning the computer on, just pick it up off your counter. So I love that too. This is very well done. I don't know, what's this, like the master book of what is
Just a good old annual report.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Very well done. Who does this work for you?
We do a lot of it in-house.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
You put this together, the design, everything on it.
Yeah, we work with a design partner annually.
Yeah.
I think that one is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna tell you.
That's all right.
I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong.
That's fine.
one.
No, we don't need to plug anybody. That's good. Whoever helps, whoever's responsible. I just wanted to say, I really love the literature you put out.
I'll give them Wall to Wall as our partner on that one this year.
Good,
So, yeah.
good, great.
North
So-
Shore based.
Yeah, right. And Georgia, we talked about the Oakland, I don't want to call it master plan. What is it called?
Innovation District.
Innovation District. I love the idea. I think Oakland's beautiful. When you fly over the city of Pittsburgh, you see this little city and you see Pittsburgh. And I feel like, whether they're considered separate or as one, really it's just a couple developments in between in the uptown area, and it's going to look like Manhattan, if we expand. Not to say I'm advocating for that. But, as far as the Oakland Innovation District, I'll take Councilwoman Strasburger and whoever represents that district as to, how that advances. So I'll be mindful of that. But I just want to tell you, I love the proposal. I really think it's moving in the right direction for Oakland in general. The thing I really liked is, the clean team. I've seen them in action. I went around with the ambassadors. You're in charge of the ambassadors.
Right.
Okay. I don't know if it was you set it up for me, but somebody set up a trip, and
it
Jim
was myself
with me. And
James Wimberly.
James was with me, and they were on it, and there was issues come up as we were walking around, and somebody from the team come by, and James is on the radio. In the meantime, the clean team's power washing an alley, which was by not secondary comment, but Smithfield Shelter, which desperately needed it, I will tell you. So they're still very active. They still do that on a weekly basis. Is that right?
Yeah, daily as long as the weather permits.
Yeah, that's great. How is downtown doing in your estimation as far as, I really feel, we have a whole other subject, and I'm not going to get into the unhoused population. But,
Sure.
But I do believe the closing of Smithfield Street Shelter was a positive for the cleanliness of downtown, no question. Because when I went around with your ambassadors, there was a focal point, and there must have been 70 people outside waiting to get in, which is a shame. It's another problem for another time that we have to tackle. But it was great to see them power washing the alley right next to them. So I love the clean team. I like the ambassadors. I think my short experience one day with them, they were engaging with people. They were, communicating with the police. They were communicating with each other. And I just thought that's a real. I actually wanted to be an ambassador. I think I told you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
I mean, I have 2 other jobs.
We're ready.
I couldn't.
Get union wage. Yeah.
Union wage. Yeah, right. I was going to say, so they get paid, right? This is not volunteer.
Oh yeah, no, most
Great.
definitely.
How many ambassadors do we have?
Between clean and hospitality, we have about 45.
45. When you say clean, so the clean team is considered ambassadors.
Yeah, we clean ambassadors, hospitality ambassadors,
Gotcha.
and then we have
Okay,
an
so
outreach team
45
as well.
people
Yeah,
basically
those
on the
3
payroll.
collectively.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So I really wanted to just comment and compliment you on what I feel that you do.
Yeah.
Now I serve on the Sports and Exhibition Authority Board, and I heard you mention, one thing we grapple with, and I love being on the marketing end because, here we have thousands of people coming into our city, staying in our facility, but we struggle with, like, for instance, Saturday and Sunday. I know when I visit another city, I want dining, I want entertainment, I want those things. Downtown just seems to shut down and at their own, obviously we can't make private ownership stay open for restaurants so that people have something to eat, but we can coordinate with, put it in our package in the convention center saying these are the restaurants that you can attend if it's on a Sunday evening or Saturday evening. So it sounds like, do you overlap with Visit Pittsburgh at all? Do you guys?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think we're complementary services. We
Got it.
say that Visit Pittsburgh gets them here, and we
Got
host
it,
them
yeah.
while they're here.
Yeah, we
basically.
kind of Visit Pittsburgh's, for those that don't know, to kind of help book the convention center.
We coordinate with them often. I have a staff member in a half-day session with them this morning talking about kind of the future of tourism. So it's very important to us. And I think to answer your question just about how are we doing, I think that we've made some really tremendous strides over the last year. I think the mayor's team and their commitment to this new OCMSH, is that?
OCHS?
Yeah, I'm like, I can never get
Office
that
of
right.
Community Health and Safety?
Yes, they have been really integral partners in the leadership that they're bringing to the table to really look at kind of the complex social issues that we have on our streets is going to pay off in dividends. Like, are we there yet? Absolutely not. But we got the right people asking the right questions, and we're piloting things that are going to work. I'm confident of that.
Yep. I'll tell you, I see a positive change, and again, it comes with being with your ambassadors, and that was early. It was like, we were still chaotic at the time. The shelter was still opened. So I'm sure the burden has been lifted a little bit just by not having 70 or 80 people conglomerate around one particular area where I know the business owners were, having issues with that.
Right.
And I don't blame them. There's all sides we have to look at here, including the businesses. So I see it. I really feel that we are headed in the right direction. We talk about a long-term strategy to get people back to town. Obviously, we can't force them back to town, but PNC and these major corporations, I feel, making the effort to get people in town. Did we increase the number of people who are working in town? Do you even have that data?
Yeah. Every month we tend to beat our previous month's return to work, and we continue to expect to see that happen. I don't think that we'll go back to 5 full days.
I agree with that. I
think that at some point we're going to kind of level off, and we're going to think about what we do with that excess real estate.
And then that's where we look, as Councilwoman Strasburger was saying, into long-term housing strategies, I guess, which would increase the population, as you were saying earlier. Again, to move your family with 3 kids to downtown where there's other kids to play with, that is kind of a struggle. And hopefully we can get there, but we will. We still need a grocery store, right?
Yeah, I think Target's playing a big part in that. You can certainly go there and get the basic things that you need to cook a good meal at home, but I think we'll continue to see that grow and expand.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess we have to, I don't know what would come first, but both kind of need to be simultaneous. Yeah. Like, it'd be nice to have like a Giant Eagle Market District.
Most definitely.
Do you talk to them? Or
we
no?
do. Yeah. We have encouraged them. We've done market studies with them to kind of talk about the viability. We need to go back to this new leadership now that they've had some transition there and talk to them about the importance of downtown to their economic health and well-being. If Pittsburgh doesn't continue to be a strong place for them to be a part of, then it will impact them.
Well, you can't. They're looking at the numbers, right? And obviously, if they don't feel it's viable and profitable, I should say, it's hard to attract them. I know. I almost feel like we have to bring the kids and the families in first, and then they'll come knocking on your door. Then we won't be knocking on their door. So hopefully we can get to that point. Really, that's it. I just wanted to say, I appreciate the work you do. I'm impressed with all your things here. I think they're good. I think they're what?
I'm lining up.
I know you are. Just hold on, Tiger. We'll get to that's it. Again, thanks for the work you do. I do feel optimistic about downtown. And as Councilwoman Strasburger said, that's all of our districts, really. Only one council representative actually officially, but when we're talking about the stadiums, we're talking about downtown, even Oakland is kind of in all of our purview, I feel.
Most definitely.
So,
yeah.
Okay, thanks again. I appreciate, what you do. Go ahead there, boss.
Thank you, Councilman. So historically speaking, we have been very lucky through multiple generations to have a very thriving, vibrant downtown when many other cities completely collapsed and did not have it. This is as challenging a time, I would argue, that we have ever seen in the history of the city as to how we reimagine, if you will, what our downtown space is going to look like. And I think a lot of what I've listened to is activation and the importance of activation. If spaces are not activated, nature abhors a vacuum, right? If there's not something good happening, most likely something bad is going to happen. And how do we strike that balance to make certain that those spaces are activated? The advantage that Georgia has in Oakland for space activation are the universities and hospitals, right? It's so very easy, and we do this so often, and not always to our betterment, discount what our universities and hospitals bring here and just how very important they are, and stop to think for a moment what Oakland might be like if it were not peppered with universities and hospitals, and how important it is to the activation, overall health and well-being of Oakland, right? Downtown, I was really encouraged to hear you say corporate partners are understanding the importance of partnerships and the role that they play, much like our universities and hospitals. But if our Fortune 500s and the like are housed downtown, they have I'm glad they realize the role they play in it and the partnerships that they need to form with you and with us and with other business and residents that live in downtown to make it safe and welcoming and excuse me, healthy and all of those things. That was really, really encouraging for me to hear from you. Some of the fondest memories that I have tucked away in my almost 70-year-old head here now are of times I spent in downtown. That when, in 1954, downtown was the center of commerce for this city. There was nothing else. South Hills Village was built in 1965. Up until that point in time, if you needed anything, it didn't matter what it was. If you didn't have a main street like a Carson Street or something along those lines, you got on a streetcar, you went downtown, and you went to the market house in town, to buy your meats, your poultry, your vegetables, all those kinds of things. I remember being in downtown the night we won the 1960 World Series. My aunt put us on a streetcar, took us downtown. We stood on Fifth Avenue. The place was total lunacy. We shut down all the bridges and tunnels, cut off access to downtown because it couldn't hold another person. There were so many people in town, people hanging from windows and confetti flying, but we'd won the 60 World Series. I say all that to say, I know we're never going to go back there to that point in time.
You mean winning the World Series?
And that too.
We're going to do that.
Yeah, and that too.
Well, you're a diehard, aren't you?
Boy, ba-dum-bum-bum. I understand that. But I have not thrown in the towel on downtown by any means. We have weathered storms traditionally as a history here, and we will weather this as well too. And downtown will, I believe it already is, but it will be the beacon that we all believe it deserves to be. I'd like to say this, I'm a South Sider through and through. I'm one of those Pittsburghers that I'm in the house that came home from the hospital to, and they're going to carry me out of there. But if I were to move, and it would be a tall order, I would only move downtown. I would never move further out from the core of the city. I would move into it. In terms of activation and our different partners and understanding responsibility to do that. Carnegie Library, we worked very, very hard to actually secure the space on the second floor of Kaufman's right above the clock. And we did that for a couple of years. We were very, very close to the board voting to take that space, which would have been absolutely amazing. And I hung on to it to the bitter end, but it wasn't to be. It just simply wasn't to be, and it didn't happen. And I'd be less than genuine to say that I'm not as thrilled with how the first floor of Kaufman's turned out in terms of how I really imagined that being the retailer that I am. But I believe we have a golden opportunity in the old Gimbel's building now that Burlington is out of there. And what could that space, the first, second floor basement of that really be if we were to envision something that would be geared purposefully to serve a market that is choosing to come and live in town, and what could that be? And I believe it's a golden opportunity that we could seize very early on and take control to say we want to see this really be something important. I would lobby for home goods as long as I'm going to put it out there, but it's a perfect space for home goods. It really is. And in terms of if you want people to live in town, business will follow rooftops, right? And if there's rooftops to support business, business will locate there. And if we want to be true to our core values of carbon reduction, or reducing our carbon footprint, making cities walkable and manageable that way, how do you then go in and produce housing, however we might want to describe that, and then force everybody either into public transportation or into a vehicle to go and purchase the simplest of necessities every day outside of where they've chosen to live, right? If we're going to have people living in town, we want to be able to provide opportunity for people to attain the things that they need just to live on a daily basis. And what does that look like, and how do we plan for that? So I could go on for hours about this subject. It's just such a critical time for us and for the city as a whole. And I'm just thrilled that we have such effective leadership in place that understands the challenge and is up to the challenge of this moment in time. And I truly believe we are in good hands. And if anyone can be a partner with us to achieve the goals we've set for ourselves, it's the both of you. And so I extend my sincere thanks and appreciation for you and all you do, and how you help us be better.
Thank you.
You.
Yeah, and thank you for your leadership. We're very sad to see you leave, but the legacy that you have created for your community is noteworthy, and the commitment that you've shown through our work together along Carson Street is just phenomenal. And your constituents are very lucky to have had you in their service for as long as you've been there.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, Jeremy, I was hoping when he was finished, we would have a chance to sort of put that in, right? So, Councilman Krause, member of the OBIT board, councilperson, one of 3, representing Oakland. Thank you for everything, for the years, for the passion, for the commitment. Councilman Kraus has seen me in my smiling mode. He has seen me in my, oh my gosh, what am I going to do mode? What are we going to do? You've seen the good times, you've seen the challenging times, and you were always there for me, for the board, for the staff, for the community, always, always. And you were incredible. You were amazing. And thank you for everything you've done. And Councilman-elect Charland is following some darn good footsteps. So I got to say, and congratulations to him as well. And of course, we look forward to working with him. But as I'm going to just reiterate what you said there, right? It's going to be really sad to see you go. But I know we're going to keep you. I know you're going to be around all of our communities and all of our, because Councilman Kraus is an urbanist, and you're passionate for the cause, and you showed it. And thank you.
I appreciate the words are very kind, and I do appreciate them. I had a background in design before I came here, and so the work that I did for the bulk of my life was to create spaces in which people would choose to live, right? And I thought coming to council was very much a similar charge, if you will, that we're here to create space in which people will choose to live in. And what does that look like? And all of its different multifaceted complexities. But what does that ultimately look like? And space is just so very important to us because we are social beings. We want to collect, we want to gather. And there's been no more important time than this moment in time, having been segregated for almost 4 years and not being able to be with one another. And as we come back now to gather, what is that going to look like? It has changed. The world has forever changed. But what will it look like now, and what will our space, our public shared space look like, and how will we use it to its highest and best order to gather and be social creatures, social beings, and be with one another. It's a big charge, but I know we're up to it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Always
no,
good.
thank
I love doing this budget hearing. Okay. Be well.
Thanks. Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that time, isn't it? It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
What are you going into next?
We're going into HR. We have the acting director with us. We are? I thought I was going on HR. HR was yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the Commission on Human Relations. I was
Forgive
thinking
me.
HR, Human Resources,
You're
too.
absolutely right. Please come up. I'm very sorry. I apologize. I had misinformation. So please come up and join us. Peter, thank you. While we're being joined with our acting director, is it directorship? No, it is directorship. Okay. Then Peter, excuse me, will you do the introduction for us?
Yes. The Commission on Human Relations is the official civil rights agency for the city of Pittsburgh and is empowered by chapters 651 through 659 of the Pittsburgh City Code to enforce civil rights laws, eliminate discrimination, and deal with matters of intergroup conflict. Quick overview: the Commission on Human Relations is divided into the following program areas: unlawful practices, administration and enforcement, intergroup, police community relations, and education and outreach. For the position summary, there is a total of 8 full-time positions in the 2024 general fund, which is an increase of 1.9 positions. That, to be clear, that's not an increase of total positions. It's just they will all be funded through the general fund in 2024 rather than being partially allocated in some of the trust funds that they have access to. A summary of non-personnel changes: there's an additional $15,000 for language access services and an additional $5,450 in computer maintenance for a customer service portal. And in the capital budget, there is $60,000 in CDBG funding for fair housing. And just quickly, a run through the 2 trust funds. There is the HUD Fair Housing Program Trust Fund. Any and all expenses related to the review or disposition of fair housing cases, training, outreach, or other related activities. And the EEOC Trust Fund, which is for any and all expenses related to the review and disposition of EEOC cases, training, outreach, or other related activities.
Best. Thank you, Peter. Welcome. Thank you. So if you would please introduce yourself for the record, and then I'll give you opportunity to provide comment.
Absolutely. So thank you. My name is Rachel Shepard. I am the new executive director of the Pittsburgh Commission on Human Relations, otherwise known as the PGHCHR. We get that confused quite a lot with just regular old HR. It does happen all the time. So we are the civil rights enforcement agency for the city of Pittsburgh. That's all 90 neighborhoods. That's all of the employers that fall within those 90 neighborhoods, all of the housing in those 90 neighborhoods, and all of the public accommodations, so any public services. And as Peter mentioned, we have a staff of 8. We are currently at 7 out of 8 staff members. We're hiring for a deputy director currently, as I had advanced from that position. And one of the things that was not included in the preliminary budget, but that we would like to, again, make a plea for is an outreach person. We did have one a few years back that had shared duties with the intake portion of our work for enforcement, collecting the information for our discrimination cases. And we found that position just was completely overwhelmed with doing both of those duties. So all of the intakes and all of the outreach was just quite too much. The intention was good. We wanted to have, the same person that you would see when you first come to the office to meet with us to have information disclosed, to be the same person you saw out on the street or at the event that we were at. So we're now asking for a communications specialist, which is all told a $75,000 increase to the general fund from for our department. That is in addition to what we've already received for this year. Again, that was to minimize the impact to our trust funds. If you're unfamiliar, we have those HUD and EEOC trust funds to receive the money that we have from our contracts with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So we, based on the number of cases that we complete every year and the types of case closures, we get paid for those cases. We are a substantially equivalent agency to both of those entities. So we are essentially an extra set of hands here in Pittsburgh for both HUD and for the EEOC. I want to mention some of the successes of the commission from this year because we are not a very well-known department. I would say pretty well-known throughout the city of Pittsburgh employees because we are, a city commission and we're, a city department. But for the folks on the ground, they are not seeing as much of us. However, we did have a housing summit in Homewood Brushton this year in April for Fair Housing Month, which was a 2-day hybrid event that was fairly successful in providing connections to resources for the members of the community. We've expanded our language access substantially in the last few years, but primarily in 2023. We have all of our outreach materials translated so that we can interact with all of the immigrant and refugee populations that are here in Pittsburgh. We had a joint event actually at one of the libraries, so I wanted to give the library their highlight for hosting us for the Asian American Pacific Islander employment event that we had with the EEOC in September. Thankfully, we had our partners at Fair Housing Partnership. Megan Hammond is the executive director there, working with Councilwoman Strasburger and others to get the enhanced domestic violence protections passed this year. Megan is the guru for fair housing here in Pittsburgh, and we lean pretty heavily on them as we're a fair housing assistance program and they are the initiatives program. So we're really thankful to everyone for their efforts on that. That again, those domestic violence protections are to assist people who are fleeing situations of domestic violence to be able to exit their rental without additional penalties or fees, and to have the locks changed if there is paperwork in order to facilitate that. So with our minimal staff and during this time of rebuilding, it's been a long year, but during this time of rebuilding, We have brought our staff up to, again, 7 out of 8 staff members. Some of them are actually on the call for us today. I don't know if there's a possibility for anyone on there to speak, but I believe our chairperson, Liddy Barlow, is also on there. And we are up to 11 out of 15 commissioners, which is excellent, helps us to keep on task with our adjudication of cases. People may not know that the 15 commissioners that we have, it is a bifurcated board where half of them will hear cases on a monthly basis to affirm our determinations for our investigations. So did discrimination occur? Did it not? And without that, we are not able to take those cases forward. We are not able to fulfill our obligations under our contracts with HUD and EEOC, and we miss out on the revenue from that we can put back into our efforts to enhance anti-discrimination protections. The other half of our board does public hearings. That can be anything from a case that has gone probable cause for discrimination and has escalated to the point of now needing a public hearing because we were unable to resolve it otherwise, or to do topic-specific public hearings, which we have not been able to do since 2017 when we had our religious and ethnic intimidation public hearing. So again, we asked for a communications specialist. We did pick from one of the existing positions that is within the city's job descriptions, so that we have this person that can be on the ground with us to work with you all on council and your chiefs of staff so that we can better serve your constituents, so that we can get back to our youth programming that we have had in the past. We had a youth arts contest for a number of years, and we're looking to get back into the schools, the public schools, and be able to work with the youth that are just entering the workforce will in a year or two be entering the housing scape, and give them what they need to know what their rights are, so that they can move through those without feeling the discriminatory effects that are very alive and well. We have an LGBTQIA plus housing research project that we are currently undertaking with the assistance of an outside vendor. We are working with the community groups across Pittsburgh. We're sending out information on our anti-discrimination measures that we can take, offering free training to those people who would benefit from it so that we can try to get ahead of these issues. And we would really love to be able to have the extra set of hands moving into 2024, where we're exploring the option of having an additional housing protected class with criminal history, where we are working with Councilperson Gross to add non-solicitation measures in the city code so that folks who are experiencing predatory home buying by investors can have protections. And just to keep going with all of the efforts that we've been undertaking for the last few years. I don't know if there's anything specific from you all as council members that you would like to know about the commission or would like to see explicitly from the commission, but I look forward to having those conversations with you all. We do have annual reports that we put out every year. As soon as one is ready for you for the 2023 year, I will deliver those to you all. And I'm happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Mr. Chair. We've worked together a little bit, but not as closely as I have with some of the previous directors. So I really look forward to working with you. You know, in my time here on council, I've had a great working relationship with the commission, and in doing so have been able to, you know, by actually the director of the commission and the chairs bringing ideas to my office, we've been able to pass, I think, 4 different either amendments or new classes of protected classes and legislation to allow for protection either all three of the sort of areas, housing, employment, and public accommodations, or, a mix of some of them. And it's some of the best and most proud, the policies that I'm the proudest of. And I know that this is all getting to a point. So I know that in passing those, one of the, in addition to adding protected classes that can clarify the civil rights protections in Pittsburgh. One of the co-benefits of that was having an opportunity to share information, in the media, on TV media, about the fact that we are so privileged to have a Commission on Human Relations in Pittsburgh. Not most cities in Pennsylvania do not have that. They rely on the state commission. So we have that in Pittsburgh. And I know what a struggle it is to continue to remind people, employees, workers, people who are seeking housing, like everyone is basically, is someone who can benefit from knowing about it, how we struggle to get the word out. And so, in addition to churning out policy and having press conferences, I know the struggle and I know the efforts that you make and you want to make through this communications manager position and the outreach position. I certainly, we as council members can do what we can to explore that idea, or if we have extra positions, perhaps if we have any unused outreach positions on council that are currently vacant, and I don't know, we can discuss it. That said, if we aren't able to make that happen in time this year, certainly know that I think we can speak to you with creative ideas as to how to leverage our own office's outreach efforts, and not to take more of your time or your staff's time. It's already probably full of the important responsibilities that you have and handle, but we have the ability to conduct outreach. And even if it means joint public meetings where someone from your team comes or a commissioner comes and just shares all that we get, that we can with the public, or, I know that robust engagement team that the mayor's office has. Please know that I'm open to having that, robust kind of partnership when it comes to the engagement and outreach as well. So, just thank you for the work that you do. I hear you and the need for this, and we'll certainly do what we can on this topic. But I do agree that it's one of those challenges that you just have to continue. It's like always. I'm gonna get the quote wrong, and I'm gonna embarrass myself. Always be selling. Is that the quote from? You should, yeah. Yeah. So it's like always be always be closing. ABC. Always be closing. I knew I was gonna get it wrong. So it's like your job is, yes, to handle the cases and for intake, but to educate people about their civil rights and to make sure that they have the ability to come to you in the first place. And I want to assist with that any way that I can. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support and the collaboration. I really am interested in working with as many of the city's departments as we can to make sure that we have the proper impact in the community. There is so much to be done. There's so much happening on the ground already, and I really would love to just stay on top of that. I wanted to highlight that you had mentioned that not all cities have a commission, and that is very true. So there is the Pennsylvania Commission on Human Relations that has jurisdiction of the entire state. They do the same thing that we do, but I'll note that we are the only fair housing assistance program that works directly with HUD and has that contract with HUD in the entire state of Pennsylvania currently. So that means that HUD is being overwhelmed with complaints, housing complaints, and many of them do happen, just outside our borders. We can only interact with folks that are in the city of Pittsburgh limits. But we are here to take those complaints and to be those extra, hands and those eyes to be able to go and do that investigative work. We are also, in addition to, requesting help from you all, but we're trying to leverage our resources in a way that will benefit everyone and try to get out there ahead of some of these issues. A lot of the commissions that we interact with on a regular basis are bifurcated with their staff, where half are for enforcement purposes, where they're actually investigating the discrimination complaints and moving through that process, and then the rest is for community relations. And that is where I feel like we've been really lacking, is the community relations portion, and we are trying to enhance what we can internally to get that moving again, and to be able to do these legislative efforts and to do more outreach, and to get out underneath some of these things that are occurring and we know are occurring before they're actually harming people. But moving forward, we are really looking forward to working with everybody that we possibly can. This is my first time sitting at this table. I have participated in every budget process since 2016 with the commission, and I've worked with a lot of your chiefs of staff and people behind the scenes. But again, it's an honor to be sitting here at this table now with you all to be able to have this conversation. The last point that I'll make is just that in addition to leveraging the existing resources that we have, Mr. McDevitt pointed out that we are receiving that $60,000 in community development block grant funding for next year. We did receive allotments of that funding for a number of years, and unfortunately it was cut off for a little bit, but we are moving forward with that money specifically to have a partnership with Just Mediation Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if how familiar everybody is, but they conduct eviction mediations to try to avoid folks from actually being displaced from their homes, and they provide housing stabilization resources through Rent Help PGH. So we are looking to partner with them with that funding so that we can really try to hit the ground running with the processes that are already being incredibly successful. They're seeing up to 150 mediations per month right now. So if we can support them, they can get our information out about what we do and what we can offer, how we can better train landlords on what their responsibilities are so that they can avoid these things in the future, and how we can better help support tenants, because we know that tenants' rights are absolutely important, and we want to make sure that everybody is getting the help that they need.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah.
I had it on. Just a couple things that come to mind. Having come to age in the 60s, I saw, both Kennedys assassinated, Martin Luther King assassinated, Woodstock, the civil rights movements, the signing of the civil rights legislation, the Equal Rights Amendment, the women's liberation, civil rights, gay liberation, on and on and on and on and on and on. And having lived through those and experienced those, have formed my view of the world and largely my politics, if I can say it that way. And I truly thought we were at a moment in time where we had gone through it all and we had fixed it all and that everything was going to be okay. And yet, as I sit here in 2023, I don't know that I've lived at a more dangerous time in terms of protecting people's inherent rights, right? Health, happiness, and liberty, and the undercurrent of some in positions of power and authority to systemically dismantle what we have accomplished, and so. For your effort and for your work and what you do and your commitment to it, I would just like to personally thank you for taking on the challenge at an incredibly difficult time in our world, not just our city or our state or our country, but in our world. Just appreciate that you're willing to do your day-to-day to make the difference in the change that you are empowered to make. And don't ever think of it as being too small. It isn't. It's, what each thing that you do contributes to the betterment of us all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we believe that ourselves. We call ourselves small but mighty. I know that my staff that are on the call are giggling to themselves about that now. But, we do what we can with what we have. Yes, we will always come to the table and try to ask for more. We know the struggles financially that are plaguing everyone, but we're going to continue to come and make the case that if we have more people on board with us, then we can do better work, and that we're willing to work with anyone who's willing to work with us. We can all support each other and move these things forward and do it in a much more impactful way if we're doing it together than if we're on the side with our small staff adjudicating one case at a time. Now, that's not to say that it's not important. We absolutely stand by our work and our investigations. We have 4 investigators who work on any number of cases at a time. We get upwards of 100 cases a year for those 4 investigators, and we really want to make a larger impact than just this case-by-case basis, but we do see the impact on that case-by-case basis with each person, and the help and just the ability to be heard, because discrimination is very alive and well. It is a much more covert process now than it has ever been. There are ways around it. Artificial intelligence is playing a part in this now. And all these third-party contracts that are being broached so that people can pass the buck to someone else, and it's evolving, but it's not gone.
For your first time at the table, you did very, very well.
Thank you.
I remember my first time at the table, and it's an awesome experience. It's awe-inspiring, maybe is what I'm trying to say, awe-inspiring experience to come to the table as a civilian and like sit at the seat of power. But I'll never forget the first time as a resident that I was invited to be at the table to speak. You did very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership and the Carnegie Library are tough acts to follow, but I'm pleased to say that the things that we're hearing from them are just amazing, and we can't wait to do additional work with both of them.
Yeah. Thanks, Rachel. Councilwoman, do you have anything further?
Oh, I just wanted to thank all the commissioners who might be listening in. Hello, Reverend Liddy Barlow. Thank you for chairing the commission, correct? She's the chair of the commission, and all the other commissioners. Really appreciate the time and effort you put into this commission.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman. So noted. Peter, I think my responsibility is to recess this meeting. Is that correct? Am I supposed to read where the other budget hearings are coming, or is that something you're going to do?
Tomorrow morning, we have the Department of Public Works, and in the afternoon, we have the Parks Tax Trust Fund, followed by Parks and Recreation, and we wrap up on Friday morning with the Pittsburgh Land Bank.
Okay. And so my responsibility for this moment in time is to call for a motion to recess until tomorrow morning.
Correct.
Councilwoman?
A motion to recess.
And I'll second.